Hello, Internet. This is Whispering Whale, bringing you another grocery haul today. This time without my glasses. I bought some contacts. I don't think I've regularly worn contacts in like 2 years. But I was fogging up my glasses when I was wearing the mask, right? And on top of that, I was debating whether for my wedding day, if I wanted to have the glasses look or the no glasses look. I think the glasses are a little more iconic, they're more standard me. But you always have that problem like, okay, the reflection is on them right now, so you got to tilt them this way or like look over your nose or I don't know. They're just inconvenient for photographs. So I might go glasses free. I'm kind of taking the whole contact thing for a spin again. Anyways, you guys are here for groceries, not for contacts, right? So let's go ahead and jump right in. First up is some rice vinegar. I bought myself some mini cucumbers and I'm looking forward to making some nice cool cucumber salads. Since it's summertime and now is the time to enjoy a cool cucumber salad. Next up, we got something that hopefully will be mostly for my guys' lunches, some lemon wafers. But as you guys may know, I'm a bit of a fan of wafer cookies. And I am back on the diet, so these will be tempting, but I think I'll be able to give at least most of them to him. Let's see here. They have 150 calories for 3 wafers. And that's a little steep. Next up, we have some crispy jalapenos. And yep, there is a second bag of them. You'll find that I bought a lot of duplicates. That makes a noise, huh? I got a lot of duplicate items this particular shopping trip. We're going camping next week. So anything that wasn't perishable, I got on this trip. Because I'm going to be in charge of most of the dinners. Go figure that people like it when I cook. So I got all the non-perishables and anything that we could use at home. I bought ahead of time because we haven't actually split up the grocery bill for camping yet. So anything that might go bad, might not be necessary. I decided to not buy it. Makes sense, right? I confess, I also got some extra camping stuff now versus later, partly to kind of like fluff up the amount of groceries. I had to do Sam's Club like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. So most of the things I bought on that trip have been opened, and it just doesn't seem authentic, right? To pull out stuff I bought like a week and a half ago and be like, here's a half-eaten bag of chips, but yeah, I bought it recently. Anyways, this guy that's rustling around here is some Spanish rice, basically generic rice-a-roni Mexican flavor, or Spanish flavor rather. And that's to use up that abundant amount of tomatoes that I bought, at the beginning of the pandemic. I still have too many tomatoes. Because when I bought them, I was like, well, if we're close to starving, tomatoes will be better than nothing. But we're nowhere near close to starving, right? And my guy is not really a fan of tomatoes. So it's been slow going to use them all up. Anyways, Next up, we've got some marinade mixes. Apparently I got 2 of the same flavor. I don't think I meant to do that, but I did. And it is the garlic, herb, and wine flavor. Taking a little break from the tomato flavor. And then I also have, this is for camping, some Starbucks instant coffee. The folks that I camp with, which is actually my future family-in-law, they're all big tea drinkers. Like, they'll drink tea in the morning instead of coffee. In fact, most of them don't like coffee at all. And I just find that tea doesn't have the same oomph. You know, I need my caffeine. I don't need caffeine, but I am in the habit of drinking a little too much. So I got myself some instant coffee to make camping a little easier. Next up, we got some Triscuits. There are 2 boxes here, and one is rosemary and olive oil flavor, and the other one is roasted garlic flavor, which I think you guys are well aware that my guy really likes roasted garlic, and I think it makes his breath a little stinky, but I also don't want to take that away from him. We're happy to have stinky breath together. How about that? Next up, we have 2 cans of cheddar cheese soup mix. Now there's 2 things I normally use this for. One is my infamous mac and cheese, right? And then the other one, a really kind of like low stakes dinner, is take cheddar cheese soup. Well, first you'd want to cook some chicken, right? And this is, it might still, no. They used to have this recipe actually on the cheddar cheese soup cans. So I got it from a label. But cook up some chicken, and then you throw that in with a can of cheddar cheese soup and some broccoli and a container of salsa. And you have like kind of a cheesy chicken con queso cheater meal. And I usually serve it over rice. So I picked these up, and I also did pick up the salsa, right? To have this as one of the camping meals, right? But I was thinking about it, and it was last night actually. I was like, well, I'll hold on to that idea, but it would be really cool if I made mac and cheese up at the campsite. My mom was a Girl Scout leader for my sister, so she learned a couple of cool little camping tricks, right? And one of them was how to make an oven out of a cardboard box. And my family-in-law just thinks that that's like the craziest thing, like baking at the campsite. So normally I make cookies, but maybe if I make macaroni and cheese, I'll really like blow their minds. We'll see. It is a little more effort, right? Even if I know how to bake it, still takes way more time than just tossing a bunch of soup and salsa in a pot together. We'll see. Anyway, next up we have some good old-fashioned green beans. I had picked up green beans, a few months ago when it was hard to find fresh vegetables, right? In fact, I was even having trouble finding my normal frozen vegetables, which was upsetting. Wow, should have organized my cupboards here before I started unbagging everything. Oh well. But I picked up, a few cans because vegetables, they're important. And I cooked with them a couple of times, and I haven't really cooked with canned green beans in forever. Just because, I know how to saute and broil and roast and, do all the fancy things with vegetables, right? But being able to just open up a can and dump them into a saucepan, I kind of missed that a little bit. So I'm going to cheat and have green beans for a couple more meals. Following that, let's go ahead and get our chemical bag out of the way here. When I pack up my groceries, of course, you want to have all the soaps and detergents and things like that in its own bag away from the food. And first out of this bag is the Gain Scent Booster. I think you may recall last month I told you it was kind of a guilty pleasure because generally I try to avoid lots of harsh chemicals and unnecessary stuff going into the water system. But I had gotten a sample, broke down, tried the sample, loved it, bought a bottle, and honestly, I really like the smell of it. It encourages me to do the laundry, right? Because then the whole apartment kind of smells like it. Sort of, I don't know. It's kind of like halfway in between a fruit and a floral scent. It's pretty unspecific, but it is pleasant to me. And then we've got, to go with my new contacts, I picked up a fresh thing of cleaner. I did have a bottle of cleaner kind of floating around in my medicine cabinet, but they say this stuff does expire and that it's good to get like a fresh container and everything. I think they say like every 6 months, 3 months, I don't know, something short-lived. So I figured it wouldn't hurt to kind of get a fresh stock there. Following that, let's see here, we've got some sponges. Yay, sponges. So, a little funny thing actually about sponges. These are the safe cleaning ones. They're not as rough, as your standard green sponge. And I was just buying, regular sponges, but my fiance, when he does the dishes, he scrubs kind of hard on the non-stick pans. And I've long since learned that if you criticize his cleaning abilities too much, then he's very not inclined to clean again. I guess that makes sense. Why do something if no one's going to be grateful for it, right? So rather than criticize, I just switched over to the gentler sponges that maybe you still shouldn't use on non-stick pans, but they'll be at least a little bit better than, the rough ones. Following that, I have a, I guess you would call it a camping test item here. These are supposedly mosquito repellent bands. I don't have strong faith in these. They're just made with lemongrass and citronella. So that's the same kind of like oils that they put in anti-bug candles. And the candles don't really seem to do much. I have O blood type. I think it's O negative. I can't remember if I'm negative or positive. Which is like the tastiest of tasty blood types for the little bugs, blood suckers. So even with a whole layer of bug spray, I tend to get lots and lots of bites. But, never give up hope, right? Maybe random little dollar wristbands are just what I needed. Finishing off our chemical bag here, we have a big old thing of Drano. I have noticed that the shower drain has gotten a little slow lately. I think it's because my hair is so curly. It just kind of, gets down in there. And rather than try to call maintenance to pipe it or snake it, rather, I think it'd just be easier to try the Drano first, because I don't know, with all the extra safety regulations that are going on right now, I'm sure I could get someone over from the apartment complex, but I don't know how many extra steps it would involve. And I just want my drain to drain. Next up, we're jumping right back into food here. Got some Milano cookies. It's another tasty thing that I get for my guys' lunches, but I want to eat. But they're individually wrapped, so I should have better luck avoiding them than average. And then 2 boxes of sesame crackers. One of these will be for camping, and then one of them I decided to buy a whole bunch of tuna fish. In fact, it was one of the Sam's Club items I haven't opened yet, so I felt justified in pulling it back out to show in the video, right? Add that anything to stretch out the time, right? So, tuna fish on crackers, delicious. Except for when I went to the store, I forgot to get mayonnaise and relish, which I think are both critical to tuna fish salad. And both are things that I don't really use anywhere else. So I haven't had any in the house, the apartment, for a while. So I'm going to have to go to the store again sometime and get the fixins so I can make all that tuna fish, right? While I'm pointing that out, I've got nice watermelon off to the corner here. That sounds like a good thump. It's probably pretty ripe. I love watermelon. And we also have some shorty sausages. And this one is unopened because I actually bought 2 when I went to Sam's Club, so I'm still working on the first one. And then finally, in this corner here, we'll just finish it off. We have some avocados. And really, I probably should have been eating these. They're starting to get a little soft. The 4th of July weekend kind of threw off my normal shopping and cooking and everything schedule. So, and then they'll be camping, so it'll just keep being thrown off for a while. A nice thing about avocado is you can freeze it. You usually want to skin it and dice it up before you freeze it. And then the texture changes if you freeze it. It kind of breaks down the fibers so it doesn't have the same smoothness to it. But you can still use it for like guacamole, or sometimes I'll mash avocado and sour cream together to make my, like an avocado dippy type thing that isn't quite guacamole. I mean, it's pretty close, right? But anyways, anything that's like mashed, or if you're going to make a smoothie and put it in the blender, you can't tell the difference between frozen and not frozen. But like on a sandwich or something like that, freezing isn't the best texture. Back to our bag stuff. We got one lonely little thing of baby reds mashed potatoes. That's an easy thing to add to my guy's dinner. That is, less tempting for me to eat, right? I always make sure that he has, his full range of carbohydrates and protein and fat, whereas for me personally, I try to eat less carbs. It seems to be working out all right, although I'm getting a little tired of it. And here is some of that tomato, garlic, and basil, marinade. I think that one's my favorite flavor. But I got 2 of them last month, and I think another one on an in-between shopping trip that wasn't big enough, to warrant dragging out all the film equipment for. So we've had tomato chicken a lot. I'm gonna kind of dial it back down. Next up, we got some jalapeno pretzel pieces. I always get anything jalapeno flavor that I can for my guy. And pretzels sounded like a good change up. He gets the Triscuits a lot, and he's only on goldfish and got some other cracker stuff. But pretzels we haven't done in a while, so figured those would be appreciated. Here is another can of green beans. And then we've got a thing of garlic. Cook with lots and lots of garlic, but you already knew that. And then let's see if we can. Here's that salsa I was telling you about that I can mix with the cheddar cheese soup. And I normally prefer to get the ones in the refrigerator section, that are a little fresher. But since the potential to take it camping was there, I figured getting it in the jar was probably better. And then next up is a big old thing of tomatoes. Now, here is a perfect example of how much I love tomatoes. So I told you, I did Sam's Club a little while ago. That's where I got my eye appointment done. So I just went shopping after my eye appointment. And I actually bought one of those Sam's Club, containers of tomatoes. And it's only been like a week and a half. If that. Yeah, it's been about a week and a half. And I've already eaten that whole container of tomatoes. So when I was out shopping at Winco, I ended up getting even more tomatoes. I might have a tomato problem. If there is such a thing. Finishing off that particular bag, we also have some Nutri-Grain bars. Another lunchtime staple, and one that I haven't given him in a while. I've been kind of focusing more on like protein bars and stuff with substance, but I still have a lot of nuts on their own to get through. So I was thinking that I'd give him like a little container of nuts and one of the Nutri-Grain bars, along with all his regular stuff. He gets spoiled for lunch. Oh my goodness, I'll have to show you guys. All the way over here, I make his lunch, right? Pretty much every day. And I had ages and ages ago found these cute little like lunch note cards. They're for kids, but I got them anyways. And he really kind of enjoys them. Well, I was kind of poking around Amazon and I found a pack that's like intended for your loved one who isn't a child. Well, not a child in the legal sense anyways, right? So I have a whole fresh batch of cards, and some of them are really sweet. Like this one says, I'm in love with you and all your little things. And this one says, you are my best smile. I need you like a heart needs a beat. And suddenly you were my everything. Anyways, most of these are really, really sweet. And they'll be great for the lunches. I actually did throw out like 2 of them though, that were like, I guess maybe a different type of couple would find them sweet, but like for us, nah. Like there was one that said, I wish I could turn my feelings for you off, and it showed a little light switch. And I'm like, why would you say that? Why would you tell someone you wish you didn't, love them? That's weird. But luckily there's only a couple of odd ones like that in this pack. Anyways, let's go ahead and move right back along here. Right. We've got some cooking oil. This is avocado, coconut, and safflower oil. The brand that I used to get, I haven't been able to find in a little while. So I'm guessing that maybe they went under or something. Or they just don't, I don't know. But this one works just fine. So I can't complain too much. Next up, we've got some corn nuts. Again, I was really trying to change up what I've been giving him. Because I was, for the longest time, I would get really, really cutesy individual things like a new Pez dispenser or a lollipop shaped like a shark. Just fun stuff, right? It's kind of expensive to buy little toys, especially if I think I was putting them in his lunch once a week or something. That's $3-4 extra here, $2 there, and it's kind of adding up. So then I stopped doing that, and it just seemed like his lunches were just so blah. So I'll try to find less expensive ways to mix things up, right? Next up, though, we've got 2 more bags of the dill pickle sunflower seeds. This is definitely a fun camping food, so for the house I probably only needed 1 bag because I still have, I don't know, a quarter to a third of the one that I got from last month. But at camping, when you can just spit them everywhere, I love it. I don't think my fiance approves though. He scrunches up his nose a little bit when I tell him I bought sunflower seeds. So I suspect that it kind of grosses him out, or he thinks it's unladylike or something. But he's the type of guy that wouldn't tell me no, especially if I enjoy eating something, or he's very supportive of you eat what you want to eat kind of a thing. So I think it grosses him out, but he won't say anything. And if he's not gonna say anything, I think I'm gonna just keep eating the sunflower seeds. Following that, we got many cans of white beans. As you know, white bean chili is a classic food around here. But it's also something I'm thinking about adding to the camping menu. I have 4 dinners to plan, so chili for one of the nights seems pretty acceptable. And there will be 5 of us, so I'll have to make a little bit more than I usually do, right? And there's one more thing. Just make a big old scary tower right there that I'm sure I'm gonna knock down. In fact, I probably should just kind of straighten up the counter before I unbag any more bags. But before that, got some toasted sesame oil. When I make cucumber salad, you can just put the vinegar and sesame seeds in there without the oil. But the oil definitely, kicks the flavor up a notch, right? And let's see here. No carbohydrates, so that's good. No protein, not so great. And 14 grams of fat for a tablespoon, so maybe, don't slather on a whole bottle, but definitely kind of perks things up. And, anything that makes vegetables a little more delicious, that isn't, deep frying them, probably a winner, right? All right. Next up, we have some strawberry donuts here. What was it? It must have been 2-3 months ago. I decided to get him a big box of those individually wrapped Danishes to eat for breakfast. And goodness, that pack lasted forever. Mostly because I wasn't really helping him with it. So the box had 30 pastries in it. And I was like, oh, I can't do it. Trying to do low carb. So the poor guy, he didn't mind really, but he likes variety. And having the same breakfast every weekend was, I think, getting on his nerves a bit. Maybe not. I'm probably reading into that. But long story short, I got him some donuts so he can eat something different finally. Because we are pretty much done with those Danishes. Following that, we got big old bag of salt and pepper, kettle cooked, crinkly potato chips. Not my favorite, but you know, sometimes it's good to get things that aren't my favorite, so that I am less tempted, right, to eat them. And then rounding out this particular bag, we got a big old box of snacks for his lunch. There are honey Teddy Grahams, chocolate Teddy Grahams, Chips Ahoy, and Barnum's Animal Crackers. And now we're on to our cooler, refrigerator, freezer stuff, which I was smart enough to kind of stow away in the refrigerator and let the refrigerator get really cold before I turned it off. So it's not running the risk of spoiling like it seems like the problem is most time when I do these videos. And in case you're wondering, like, why would you turn the refrigerator off? We have a very noisy refrigerator. So when I'm getting ready to talk to you guys, I end up just turning it off completely because it's too overwhelming, and it runs for like 20 minutes and then it's off for like 5. And usually it's okay. If I don't open and close it too many times, it can survive, however long. Usually takes me about an hour and a half to record all the bag stuff, right? But the problem is I'm sometimes a bit of an airhead. And every once in a while I forget to turn it back on. So wish me luck that I don't do that this time. It's actually been a little while since I've forgotten to turn it back on, but it has happened. Usually I catch it soon enough. One time I didn't, and everything was just in an unoperating refrigerator for like a day and a half. It's not good. But back to the food. I got a big old thing of jalapeno ranch. Sometimes I wonder if I get him too many jalapeno things and it just tastes like regular. You know how like some people put Tabasco on everything, and so everything just tastes like Tabasco and it doesn't taste special anymore. I worry about that sometimes, but he hasn't complained, so we're gonna assume that it's okay. But I've got some prosciutto here and some salami. Following that, we have lots and lots of cheese. There's string cheese. There's shredded Kobe Jack cheese. There's sliced provolone cheese. And there is also mozzarella cheese. So we're going to be well cheesed up. However, if I end up taking some of this to camping, it actually isn't that much cheese. Not for 5 people. Speaking of camping, I got some hot dogs because my fiance is not a big fan, but I just think it's classic, for one night to be like wieners and marshmallows, right? Stick it on a stick and roast it over the fire. It's one of my favorite things. And considering some of the fancy camping foods that I'm going to be making for most of the nights, I think we can get away with having hot dogs on one of them. Interestingly enough, I only brought one package last year, so I figured everybody would be kind of like not into it, there's other food options, because like, so there'll be 5 of us at one campsite, but his family actually rents out, I don't know, like 6 or 7 altogether. And some of them do group meals and some of them do like more like their immediate campsite meals. But long story short, usually there's an option to eat elsewhere one night if you're not feeling up to whatever is in your camp, right? Huge, huge family. His family's so big. So I just brought one pack of hot dogs, you know, like a just in case kind of a thing. And everybody was just like, ah, rah, rah. So I got 2 packs this time. That should be enough. And then after that, I got some jalapenos. This is actually kind of a small bag, right, for me. And the reason being, they just didn't look as happy as they normally do. It's kind of maybe an older batch or something. You can kind of see that they're all kind of wrinkled up. And they're safe to eat. You know, like this is still fine. I can cook with it, you know, easy. However, if it's started to wrinkle, they will go bad faster. So I didn't get as many, you know, for fear that I wouldn't be able to get through them all. But it's easy enough to go out and buy more jalapenos, right? And let's see here. Finishing off that bag, we also have some butter. Nice and simple butter. Next up, I'll go ahead and mention some of these bigger items here that are unbagged. They are from Sam's Club. Got some carrots. And here's that pack of mini cucumbers that I'm going to be making salad out of. In fact, I think when I'm done videotaping today, my lunch is going to be like prosciutto and cheese and cucumber salad. It's going to be fabulous. And then also got myself a big old box of hummus cups. And then let's see here, some of the other purchases I made at Sam's Club that just, you know, either got used or aren't worth digging out, or, you know, got broken up into smaller pieces. So of course I got my meat. I got chicken and ground beef, and I also picked up some sirloin steaks, which we had like the night that I went grocery shopping at Sam's Club after my eye appointment, and they were delicious. And then there was also, I got a new bag of lemons and a big old bottle of vodka to make myself some alcoholic beverages. And then his normal big old bag of apples, which I'm sure you guys see like every month pretty much. Let's see here. Already told you about the tomatoes. And a big old thing of sour cream. I kind of have regrets on the size of the sour cream. Anyways, moving on. Maybe we've got our half and half. It's a coffee classic, right? And then we got lots and lots of kielbasa. I may have overdone it on the kielbasa. Let's see here. Yeah, there are 4 of them. But I was debating whether or not this would be another camping meal. And if it was, between 5 people, you'd need at least 2, right? But also, these things stay good, you know, if you keep them in the refrigerator for a long time. Best if used by November 21st. We'll use it way before then, even if I don't take it camping. So I figured it was a safe bet to go ahead and just, buy them now. So, big old pile of kielbasa. another thing of half and half. This one's camping size, right? And then got some bacon. This isn't the super giant pack, and it's also not the one from the deli counter, although it is the same brand as the deli counter. The line looked pretty long, and honestly, lately I've been buying that huge 5-pound block. So I went to go look for it, and they switched to the smaller ones for roughly the same price per pound as the giant block. So I was like, actually, I could get behind that because it's less fuss. You know, I don't have to cut and prepare as many slices at once. But now that I'm holding them in my hand, I know this is not enough bacon for a whole month. We are, outside of cheese and jalapenos, bacon is like a very critical ingredient. So I may run out, but that's okay. I have to finish up the camping shopping next week anyways, so I'll just get some more bacon then, or later on. I'm flexible. Following that, we've got the last item of this bag, which is dun, 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 even more cheese. We're a little predictable, I think, when it comes to the main staples of our diet, right? I'd say like at least a third of every shopping trip is the same exact items, over and over again. Sorry, I think I'm getting a little like cray-cray because I'm hungry. But we only have one bag to go, so I can have lunch here very soon. And our last bag isn't the most exciting of finales here. This entire bag here, the whole thing, is frozen vegetables. I have been eating so many vegetables because, they're low calorie, they're medium carb. They're not low carb, but they're medium carb. But they're just, they're good for you. And honestly, you don't need to eat like a whole pound of meat with every meal. That being said, our first vegetable pack here is pepper stir fry. And I still have like one steak left over from that Sam's Club bunch, right? And one of the reasons why I picked up provolone, we saw earlier, was so I can make steak sandwiches. And instead of buying bell peppers and everything, I'm going to try to make my steak sandwiches with the frozen peppers. See how that works out. And then we've got Asian stir fry. This mix has broccoli, carrots, onions, red peppers, celery, water chestnuts, and mushrooms. And then we have asparagus stir fry. I think it's funny that they call them all stir fry. But this has asparagus, carrots, green beans, cauliflower, yellow squash, celery, onions, and mushrooms. And then we've got broccoli stir fry, carrots, onions, mushrooms, and red peppers. Here's a second Asian stir fry. And then this one is San Francisco blend. Green beans, broccoli, onions, mushrooms, and red bell peppers. They sound like they're exactly the same when you read them out loud. They all do, because the ratios is different, they all do taste a little different from each other, but it's still kind of funny. And then I think our last two are just repeats. Yep. So we've got another pepper stir fry and one more of the broccoli stir fry. So that's a lot of packages of stir fry. That's gonna come crashing down here very soon. Don't crash. Don't crash. Yeah. And honestly, like, I feel a little silly because there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bags of vegetable mixes here. But when I make dinner, I usually use like half a bag in one go, anyways. So the whole theme of this grocery trip was to just buy it now and get it done and over with. Because I was trying really, really, really hard to spend less than I know it takes. And then I'd end up going shopping again. And sometimes because I only needed like 2 items, I'd go over to the Save Mart that's closer to me, but it's much more expensive. So by trying to pinch pennies, I was costing myself money. That makes sense, right? So this time around, I was like, just buy a whole bunch of kielbasa and vegetables, and we'll sort it all out later. All right, so we have unbagged all of the bags, right? Which means that it is time for this video to be over. But before it's over, we always do a few shout outs, right? Because I appreciate everybody who takes the time to write out a little comment, even if I can't shout out to all of you, and even if I'm maybe a little bit bad about answering right away, right? So shout out to Emma Richmond and Del Skolinski. Thank you guys for commenting, and thank you to all the other commenters. I will see you guys here soon without airplanes. I'll talk to you later. Nighty night.